Boden Sand Gravel is a third-generation company. My grandpa and his two brothers started it in 1948. They had 8 crushing spreads, 30 gravel trucks, and worked all over Alberta. From there, they started their gravel pit in Edinburgh, Alberta in 1958. Since then, we've extracted over 18 million ton out of that aggregate deposit. We have another 30 million ton to go. They sold out in 1970 due to a death in the family. They had a complete dispersal. I think they sold off over 200 pieces. My grandpa and his brother and Dave Ritchie attended the sale. My grandpa kept all the flyer and the bidding card from the sale, and it meant a lot to him and means a lot to me. So I'm gonna frame it and hopefully pass it on to my son and my brother's son. So my grandpa branched off into Ted Boden and Son Trucking, which later continued into Boden Sand and Gravel Supplies. My dad started in 1982, and from there he bought a crushing spread in 2005, and we just grew it from there. Me and my brother started at a young age. We were 10 and 12 when we first started. We didn't have a skid steer at the time, so I started out with a wheelbarrow and shovel, shoveling under all the conveyors, and my brother ran front end loader feeding the crushing spread, and it just built character and built work ethic. And if my dad didn't give us that opportunity, we wouldn't have been able to take over. My dad passed away in 2017. From there, we've taken it on, and we brought in the sales team, and we've grown the company over 300%.
When I moved to Camrose back in 1987, I got to know Grandpa Ted through the trucking industry. I actually had a beer with Ted on that stoop at the house behind us here. When I first moved to Camrose, I didn't know very many people, so I joined a beer hockey league. Funny thing was that our hockey team was called the Boden Crushers. So once again, funny how things went full circle. The boys were friends with my daughter. At my daughter's wedding, we got talking, and then I had retired from my previous duties in the trucking industry for about 35 years. So he said, would you mind coming out and giving us a hand? So not knowing anything about the aggregate industry, I said, sure. Well, I don't know if this is a Brandon thing or what, but there's just pieces here, there, everywhere. So you dump a load of gravel into one end and about 5, 6, 7 different products shoot out the sides. Just, you know, it's amazing on what can be produced by what I thought was just rock.
Ritchie Brothers had been there to help grow the company with adding equipment and getting rid of equipment. My dad and grandpa took us to just about every Nisku sale. I was usually crawling underneath looking for leaks and stuff like that. Sometimes 2 or 3 years would go by from when I seen Dave Ritchie last, and he'd always remember my name and remember the history of our family, and just remember my dad hanging out with his buddies and Dave Ritchie and just buying equipment. Trent Vandenberg, Elliot Bicknell, and now Krista's our territory manager, and she's done a terrific job with helping us source out equipment and just helping us every step of the way.
I was introduced to Brandon right from the beginning because they were looking and interested in some pieces in the yard, so I was their first call. Eventually, we would sit down and we had some lunches together, and then inviting me out to the shop to come and look at some pieces. So we did a couple of packages for gross guarantees and some deals.
In the last 10 years, we made over 600 purchases. We have time so we can pull it from 2 or 3 different auction sales. Even if it's not in your local Ritchie Brothers branch, that they'll find it for you.
I just thought they were an auction, you put up your hand, you buy stuff. But when I got to see the workings of Ritchie Brothers, there's just so many working pieces to it. And the connections worldwide is with the internet and that kind of thing is just amazing, actually.
With the online app and everything, it's made it a lot easier for meetings, busy days. We can set our proxy bids and walk away from it. And if we don't get it, we don't get it. But if it fits our budget, then we get it. So
he can run his business and at the same time be continuously buying and selling.
The furthest piece of equipment we bought through Ritchie Brothers was from Las Vegas, Nevada, 2008 Komatsu loader. We've seen some of our equipment reach the Middle East, so that just shows that Ritchie Brothers marketing team really reaches the global market.
We're doing a business where the contract is still the same contract, regardless of what's on the asset list. And I want the customer to feel like we care about them no matter what the value of their contract is. What we were trying to do for them is market their item and make them feel like we're going to get them the most valuable dollar that we can when the market can provide for them.
She always steps up and asks us, okay, we have a sale coming up. Do you have anything that you need to disperse? Is there any needs that you're looking for? Because we have so much of, say, this inventory. Are you guys looking for this kind of stuff? Because this is what's in our sale coming up. She's been a wealth of knowledge. She's easy to get a hold of. That's what service is to me, for sure.
We take advantage of their paint shop. We've had over 20 pieces painted at their paint shop, and it's always top notch when it comes out. Like rock trucks, low beds, loaders, and they always come out looking like brand new. I just purchased a brand new 600 Komatsu loader. That'd be my favorite piece of equipment we just purchased. We eliminated 3 loaders into 1 loader, so.
When they bought the 600 and drove it into the shop, there's the magnitude of this piece of equipment. When you're looking at down in the pit, it looks like an ant down there, because that's how big this pit is. You know, the amount of rock that just leaves our little pit here is phenomenal. It's mind-blowing, but we're one of so many. That the way they went from just a little piece of making aggregate to what Brandon and Dylan are doing right now that's what's impressive to me, and that's the biggest change I've seen.